What's up, everybody? We're waiting on some more people to come in. And it's a good day. It's a good day today. So we're waiting on some more people to come in. Let me go ahead and do a reach on. We're going to do this because I'm trying to make it look kind of cute. So yeah. Now I'm kind of making it kind of cute. Motherfucker! Oh, damn. But I'm just waiting for some more people to actually come in. Because I got some news. Got some good news. And I'm sorry that I didn't stay for um the other live that I was in. Like I said, I got a phone call. And I got some good news. Have to share. Mm. Go ahead, let's cut this on. It's like I got to have some type of sound. Some type of thing. Why he got to have um, recall? Well, let me guess. This is gonna be world's dumbest.
Merry Christmas. Warning, the following program contains scenes of graphic stupidity among lifelong friends who compete to embarrass each other.
But just when just waiting on some, just now. If I go into the kitchen to get something to eat, it's going to be off. The camera's going to be off. Just out of respect. Let me see. 299. No, I don't watch Jail. Let's see. I don't watch that. I watch CNN.
And the damage be wrong with that.
We can have it on CNN. I trust CNN, MSNBC. I don't trust Fox. Fuck them.
President Trump was asked about the Ayatollah's warning that Iran will, quote, never surrender, to which he responded, and I'm quoting now, good luck. CNN is covering all the breaking news from all angles right now.
Trump is going to get us fucked. Hello.
Tel Aviv. Let's start with Kristen. Kristen, President Trump is on the cusp of what could be one of the...
If I play music, it's going to... I'm going to get the black line.
Are we learning about his thinking at this hour?
Yes, well, that's absolutely right. We know that President Trump knows how important this decision is, and so do his aides and his advisors. And we're told by administration officials that he has yet to make up his mind. And when he says no,
and I just got off the phone with my daddy too, so because I had to let my dad know what's going on.
Conclusion on his own, but one thing that's clear: his language has grown increasingly aggressive, as you noted when he was asked about the supreme leader saying he wouldn't back down. He said, good luck. At one point, he said that he had already given Iran the ultimate ultimatum.
Community Fest 2025.
When he was asked to explain one of his social media posts in which he had posted unconditional surrender. Here's what he said.
Unconditional surrender. That means I've had it.
Fuck you!
I've had it, I give up.
You piece of fucking shit!
All the nuclear stuff that's all over the place there.
I'd be glad with no kings.
For 40 years they've been saying death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody else that they didn't like.
Death to you!
Bullies. They were schoolyard bullies. And now they're not bullies anymore.
And one thing to point out here is the part of what he's talking about with I've had enough. We had reached out. We know that Donald Trump was looking for a diplomatic solution at one time. That wasn't just rhetoric. They were trying to bring Iran to the table. They were trying to still have these talks even after Israel launched its first wave of strikes. Now, on Israel, Donald Trump was asked about Benjamin Netanyahu. He said that he talks to him every day. His message to the Prime Minister of Israel is to keep going. And he was also asked if he'd given any indication to Netanyahu that the United States would aid in any additional way than they already were. And he said they had not, but clearly they're still giving the go-ahead to Benjamin Netanyahu.
Clarissa, you're there in Tel Aviv. The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem, we now know, is closed for the next few days.
But I'm waiting for some people to actually come in here. I know I got a little small channel, over 1,000 subscribers.
Well, I had actually been hearing from some Americans who were stranded here and who were feeling very frustrated that they were not able to get out, essentially. And now we have a tweet from the U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, who says, urgent notice, U.S. citizens wanting to leave Israel.
I know who you were friends with.
Cruise ship departures. Now, we know that the U.S. Embassy is closed today, tomorrow, and Friday. No specific reason has been given for that, Wolf, but needless to say, it's of course fueling speculation that if potentially the U.S. or if President Trump makes the decision to intervene in Iran, that could then pose a threat potentially for security personnel and anyone working at the embassy. And obviously unusual for the embassy to be closed for 3 days at a time like this when there are so many Americans here who are trying to get out of the country. Israel's leaders are not commenting at all on whether President Trump will or will not decide to get involved. But they are starting to relax the sort of overall security. Cats calling it a message of victory to Iran that's starting tonight. They will start to reopen the economy, which basically means that people will be able to go to work for the most part, or stores will be able to be open. And they said they will begin a sort of phased approach, essentially, of getting back to some semblance of normalcy. I want to add, though, that this is still very much not a normal situation. We haven't had any alerts or sirens yet today, but throughout the night, we had multiple alerts. Roughly 30 missiles came over from Iran, 30 missiles the night before. That's down a lot from 200 missiles on Friday night. But still,
Wawa cup.
a very fluid situation, and people prepared for the possibility that even though
Everything else in
forces done a lot of
one
damage to
hand.
Iran's capacity to launch these
So we're going to go into the kitchen.
possible, particularly given the messaging that we've heard from Iran's supreme leader, who's promising severe punishment. Well,
Clarissa, what are we doing officially there where you are saying about what might come next?
essentially, Wolf, they're prepping people for the possibility that this is going to be weeks and not days, but privately they're saying that it's weeks and not months. Now, what they aren't articulating exactly is what the end goal is or what the end game is. They said they want to dismantle Iran's nuclear program. What does that look like? Does that entail completely destroying it? Does that entail setting it back several years? We already heard Prime Minister Netanyahu saying that that objective essentially has been achieved, and others, of course, speculating that Israel is hoping for a complete regime change in Iran. Well,
All right, Clarissa, we're in television. Homes over at the White House. To both of you, thank you very, very much. Aaron.
All right, well, as President Trump is weighing whether to use U.S. military assets in this war, there is a staunch divide within the Republican Party about what to do. Our Washington Bureau Chief David Challoner joins me now, along with Simon Kim, a White House correspondent for the Associated Press. And I appreciate both of you so much. Here, let's just start with what Clarissa said. We have not heard a clear ending from Israel, right? One can surmise from various things they're saying, but they have not put out a repeat ending of this conflict, whether that is or ending the nuclear program. But in terms of dismantling it, Prime Minister Netanyahu has already said that days ago, basically setting it back many years. And it sounds like that's not going to be enough for them.
Yeah, and you heard President Trump say on the South Lawn to reporters today that indeed nothing is finished until it's finished. And he was not suggesting that this was already done. And while he reasserted his long-standing statement that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. So while, as you noted, he has not come out with a decision yet, and we're not going to get ahead of that, he certainly was giving a lot of insight based on those early conversations with Bibi Netanyahu, as you're saying, based on what his team has presented to him, giving us a lot of insight into his current thinking and letting us know that his patience with Iran on the diplomatic side has basically run out.
Right. And of course, it's clear the goalpost is moved here on the nuclear program. I think we can all just call that as it is. So when the president spent the morning, he made those comments that he made, but he also spent it doing this, raised a new flagpole at the White House and attacked the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, the California Governor Gavin Newsom, and of course Joe Biden. From your reporting, how focused is he right now? How much time is he actually spending sitting, thinking, focused on this massive, now not just American, but worldwide crisis?
We know that he spent a chunk of his time yesterday in the Situation Room. He did cut his G7 trip in Canada short to tend to this growing conflict. He said he much rather do these things in person, that he doesn't want to rely on the telephone as he talks to his advisors and other world leaders as he mulls on what to do with this conflict. But you're certainly right that at any certain event, his attention can go elsewhere. He is, his advisors say he is very much focused on Iran and with what next steps to take. But at any given moment, he can veer off into, thoughts on immigration, thoughts on domestic politics, certainly thoughts on Jerome Powell. I think those were the remarks that he actually began the flagpole event with today, just really ripping on the Fed chair again for his reluctance in lowering interest rates. So this is Trump. His mind is everywhere all at once. And in the middle of this conflict, it's really, there's a lot of competing factors for his attention.
Yeah, and David, within this, there's a divide, right? There's a schism within the Republican Party. Between Iran hawks, MAGA isolationists. In a sense, there's no one in this country who isn't looking at this nuclear weapon goalpost moving and recalling back to WMD, right? It would be irresponsible to not have that conversation. And that conversation is being had at the heart of the Republican Party. I am surely not alone in having having watched several times the Q&A between former Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson and Republican Senator.
Yeah, get that shit, former.
I don't know the population at all. No, I don't know the population.
Okay.
The population of the country.
I'm not gonna put tahini on
How many people living around?
my salad because it's cherry almond.
How could you not
Turns
know?
out
Why
I
is it
said.
relevant whether it's because 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? You don't know anything about the country. I didn't say I don't know anything about what's the
I didn't say I know anything about the damn country. Shit. Okay, when I take my insulin, I'm gonna cut this camera off and you'll still be able to hear me because I believe I've got a little bubble going on.
David, I have to say that was one of the most stunning moments I have seen in a long time.
Because for some people it's rude for me to eat on camera, and I do have to pretty much agree to disagree with them, so it's okay.
It's stunning.
Yeah, I attended a reporter roundtable breakfast with Steve Bannon this morning.
But we're waiting on some more people to come in. Says I got some good news and I want to share it with everybody.
And said that this was a larger problem as to why he's so skeptical about U.S. military action here, is that nobody seems to have thought through the next steps after that.
Hey, I'm
What was really
alive.
interesting to me, hearing from Bannon this morning, Aaron, which is that while he still remains completely sort of opposed or deeply skeptical about
I'm hoping
US
everyone
military
could
action,
see
he
me.
did seem to be almost heeding the call from J.D. Vance's tweet yesterday about giving space, because he's starting to say that if indeed President Trump does decide to launch U.S. military strikes, he thinks that the MAGA wing of the party will rally around their guy, President Trump, on this, and he started laying out the groundwork of the argument that he anticipates President Trump would need to make to the American people to bring him along.
So, Simon, which faction has his ear the most right now?
I mean, it's hard to deny that he has, his tone at least has become considerably more hawkish in recent days and recent times. But you are kind of really seeing this tussle in real time as it comes to President Trump. And I think David's point about whether his supporters, the MAGA faithful, will really follow him, I think that's kind of an open question. I was looking at comments from Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is as stalwart of a Trump supporter as they come, and she made it very clear that on this dispute, she is on Tucker Carlson's side and not the president. So it'd be fascinating to see if the U.S. goes ahead and takes significant action as it relates to Iran, what kind of argument, what kind of messaging that this administration, that this president will have to make to really assuage his supporters who really got on board with him partly because of his views on the Iraq War all the way back in 2015 and 2016.
Right, couldn't have been more clear, and wars, and especially and specifically in the Middle East. Thanks so much to both of you, and stand by, please. We will be back with you later this hour as our breaking news coverage continues here. We'll be back in a moment, breaking down potential options for the U.S. military wolf on the wall as the president decides whether to join Israel's battle against Iran. Stay with us.
I'm very pleased to announce Live Aid.
It seemed harebrained scheme. It seemed like this could never happen. Something went on at Live Aid. That's still with us.
Live Aid, when rock and roll took on the world. July 13th on CNN.
Well, look, we're great with tea. We're too.
And everything in between.
We need backup. The clinically proven essential oils and Listerine. Every surface of your mouth. For whole mouth health, Listerine. And wash your mouth.
Not feeling the grays but don't want a color? Try Just for Men Control GX Gray Reducing Shampoo. Just shampoo like you do to gradually reduce grays. Now boosted with carrots, hair looks 2 times thicker to keep you looking your best. Control GX Shampoo.
Paul? Hey, Carbox, are you hiding from used car shopping? No. Yes. Okay, just because nearly half of all used cars have been in an accident doesn't mean you have to overpay. Really? Take my word for it. It doesn't have to be scary. Okay, show me, Carbox. Knowing how a car's accident history impacts price means you don't have to overpay. Cool. Wait, how did you get in here exactly? No fear, just box. They show me at Carfax.com. Seriously, how'd you get in here?
The tempered heated breeze makes some people feel cool. So no more sweating all night or blasting the air conditioning, because the Tempur-Breeze feels up to 10 degrees cooler all night long. During our July 4th sale, save $500 on cooling Tempur-Breeze mattresses.
Baby back ribs. Where does it go? Nobody knows.
Hey, how did you do that?
Honey, it's magic.
Has anyone seen a perfectly sauced rib?
Just go back to the buffet. It's all you can eat.
But it was sauced perfectly.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. Partnering to unlock new ideas, to create new legacies, to transform a company, industry, economy, generation. Because grit and vision working in lockstep puts you on the path to your full potential. Old school grit, new world ideas. Morgan Stanley.
Living with chronic migraine? 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours.
Monday is going to be a very big day for
The
me.
treatment is 4 times a year, so why wait? Talk to your doctor.
Botox effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as trouble swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Those with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions like rash, breathing problems, dizziness, neck and injection site pain, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions like ALS, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medicines like botulinum toxins, which may increase the risk of serious side effects.
In a survey, 91% of patients wish they'd started Botox sooner. Ask your doctor today. If eligible, you may pay $0.
You're seeing Skechers' famous glide step footwear everywhere. And now that famous design is available in hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Get the comfort and style of glide step now with the convenience of slip-ins with no bending down or touching your shoes. Try glide step Skechers slip-ins.
I'm getting my new leg Monday. Monday afternoon is when I'll get it.
What if we turn your gochujang pasta sauce into some tasty cookies?
Sweet. Tell me how.
Add butter to the sauce.
What's next?
Mix it all together.
Done. Now what?
Bake it for 10 minutes.
Got it.
High heat, wet hair, aka the Springer Sizzle. OGX Weightless Repair Mist for non-stop damage protection. OGX.
I might buy more in the line as a metaphor for everything else I'm putting on, like my laundry or my 768 unread texts.
I'm just your dermatologist. You don't want all of this showing up on your face. Try Hydro Boost.
Neutrogena, weightless hydration that goes deep.
Eva Longoria, Searching for Faye, Sunday at 9 on CNN.
The U.S. is now preparing to deploy a strike group to Europe next week. They're moving the USS Ford aircraft carrier battle group to the eastern Mediterranean, closer to Israel. It will be the third U.S. aircraft carrier nearby the conflict between Israel and Iran. And that move follows a very intense night in the region. More than 50 Israeli aircraft carried out a wave of strikes on key Iranian missile and military sites. We have new images of the damage to these critical locations, and we'll share those images with you shortly. Retired U.S. Air Force Colonel Senator Layton is joining us right now. He's at the wall for us to break it all down for us. Colonel Layton, I want to get to those satellite images in a moment, but first, why would you send the third aircraft carrier battle group to the region if the U.S. were not getting ready to actually use that aircraft carrier battle group, which includes a bunch of destroyers as well?
Exactly, well, that actually is a great question, because normally it takes a lot of fuel to bring an aircraft carrier into any place that is far from its home port, and that's exactly what we see with the Ford. And probably what you'll see is the Gerald Ford will end up right around here in the eastern Mediterranean. It was originally scheduled to deploy to Europe, but the basic idea for the Ford's deployment is its 75 or more aircraft, and the fact that it also has the largest aircraft carrier in the world and has the largest complement of aircraft on it. The reason you bring that in there is to project power. And when you project power, you can project power all across the Middle East if you're stationed in the eastern Mediterranean.
Yeah, it's a lot of power from those aircraft carriers, battle groups, and the accompanying destroyers that are there right there. Walk us through what we're seeing right now as far as the latest Israeli strikes.
So one of the key things here is the before and after of a strike like this, and this is what we call battle damage assessment. And when you look at this, you have the before picture. This was taken in May, at the end of May in this year. And you see here Tabriz missile base in Iran. Everything here is basically intact. Everything that you see that is functioning, it's an operational area. But over here, this is now June 17th. The Israelis have taken out all of this area right here. So when you compare these images, you can basically see that it is, in essence, a completely eviscerated area. Same thing happened with Mashhad Air Base. This was taken at Mashhad Airport. This was taken in May, and the May same date as the other image. Again, the apron, the tarmac here is perfect. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. That aircraft is perfectly functional. But when you look right here, it's a smoking hole on the ground. And what the Israelis did was they took out a tanker aircraft. The Iranians have tanker aircraft, and that tanker is now gone and cannot support anything that the Iranians are planning to do.
We're told, Colonel, that the U.S., the Trump administration, is considering sending more military equipment to Israel to help Israel target various Iranian nuclear sites. What does that entail?
So one of the key elements here, Wolf, is the fact that when you have all of these different sites, and there actually are a bunch more, but these are the main ones. So you've got both enrichment areas that are shown in red and the research areas that are shown in green, plus a civilian site right here at Bushehr. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring forces to bear to potentially conduct air operations against each of these sites. Now, the Israelis have already conducted a major attack right here on Natanz, this area right here. It is just south and east of Tehran. That site in particular is very important, but here's the difficult one, and that's the Fordo site. It's a little bit closer to Tehran, but one of the key things about the Fordo facility is it's a hardened, deeply buried target. And as this graphic shows right here, the satellite image shows, it's under a mountain. It's about almost 300 feet under this mountain. And in order to do anything against this particular target, you need to be able to attack maybe points of vulnerability, like these tunnel entrances right here, potentially checkpoints in the security perimeter, but that's not as important as the entrances and the actual facility itself. So this facility being so far underground requires special conditions, and that would be where a weapon known as the Ju-57 comes into play, and that can only be delivered by the B-2 bomber, and that's only in the United States Air Force's inventory.
The Israeli Air Force does not have B-2 bombers, at least not yet. All right, Colonel Sutherland, thank you very much for that update. Aaron.
All right, Wolf, and joining us now is the Democratic Congressman Chris Deluzio of Pennsylvania, also an Iraq War veteran. And I so much appreciate your time, Congressman. Since the Colonel was just talking about Fordo and this B-2 bomber, and
but
the way the bomb
this is
I just want to take a step back here.
the most exciting news
How
ever.
far they were or weren't in getting a nuclear weapon, and what they were or weren't doing. Okay, just put that conversation aside. The discussion is down to whether the United States is going to bomb Fordo. It seems that there are many who are trying to oversimplify it along the lines of, well, if the U.S. chooses to do it, then there goes Fordo, it's done and it's over. Now, there's another conversation about what happens in a war after that, right, and next steps. But I just want to focus on that one moment. Do you have confidence that if the U.S. actually drops one of those giant bunker buster bombs on Fordo, that it would truly be successful in taking everything out there? Or is that too sort of a hope and a prayer?
I think it's more the latter. We don't know. And I think that's not something as simple as you drop a bomb and a nuclear program is gone. And remember, the Trump administration assessed a few months back that the Iranians were not actively working to develop a nuclear weapon. And let's also take a step back of this debate. The president does not get to decide whether to send Americans to war. And sending a bomber over skies in another country and dropping a bomb is sending Americans to war. The American people get to decide that through the Congress. I have not seen that case made to the American people. I've not seen the kind of presentation, evidence, intelligence, and the basic case that you make to decide whether you send Americans into the hell of war. And I say this as a guy who's a veteran of the war in Iraq, where the Congress, I think, then shirked its duty in sending Americans off to fight. This is not a small decision, and no president gets to decide that on their own.
No, well, of course, we all remember, again, that voted word evidence, right? And that infamous presentation at the United Nations about the weapons of mass destruction. Okay, so we're not there. Can I ask you, though, Congressman, in your conversations with Republican colleagues, do they all agree with you? I mean, is Congress going to actually stand up to the president and say, we demand to have this right as Congress? Or are Republicans going to acquiesce to him making the choice himself?
I think there's disagreement on the Republican side. You see some who are willing to stand on our Constitution and assert Congress's role, the American people's role in deciding whether we send Americans to war. You see who are willing to do whatever the president asks. And my point here, it shouldn't matter which party the president is in. It is up to the American people and Congress to decide whether we go to war. That is a serious decision, one of the most serious we ever will make. And the Congress, I hope my Republican colleagues understand.
So, can I just ask you in your capacity as a former veteran, when you think about this moment, and you think about what happened to your life, you think that you were sent into Iraq and your entire life changed, this country changed. When you think about this moment, what really is at stake?
Look, a lot, and you think about, we are going to pay the cost of the Iraq War for as long as my generation of veterans is alive. It is a major decision to send Americans to go fight, to spill American blood and spend American treasure anywhere. And if we've learned nothing from 2 decades of Middle Eastern wars and regime change, my goodness, what are we doing? This is not something we should be rushing into. I understand and recognize that we cannot have the Iranians have a nuclear weapon. But there is something short of that we can do. Diplomacy, of course, should continue. I know the Trump administration was trying through last week. Let's keep trying. But again, the decision to send Americans to fight, that's what this is, a video game. There are humans who will be in an aircraft. There are humans who will be sent in to go fight. We'll bear those costs for a long time. I haven't seen the case made why I should support that, or why the American people should support sending Americans to go fight.
Congressman DeLuzio, I really appreciate your time and thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
The next big decision from the Supreme Court that will sharply limit medical care for trans kids. Wolf has the details right after this.
I'm Natasha Bertrand at the Pentagon, and this is CNN.
It's the Sleep Over 4th of July sale. Don't miss savings on Cooler Sleep, Acre Relief, and all night, every night comfort. It's the lowest price of the season on the P5 Smart Bed. Check it out at the Sleep Over store or sleepover.com today.
Wake up! We got paid to release our morning. Nice. Hot. Lavender! You actually have nighttime recovery. Just go back. I see it. I like it. I want it.
With Chase, you can get a debit card for your kids' independence. And parental notifications, so you can keep an eye on how they're using it. Stop at that. Control for parents, freedom for kids. That's family banking from Chase. Make more of what's yours. The darkness of bipolar depression made me feel like life was moving on without me. Then I found a chance to let in the light. Discover Capilita. Unlike some medicines that only treat bipolar 1, Capilita is proven to deliver significant symptom relief from both bipolar 1 and 2 depression. And in clinical trials, movement disorders and weight gain were not common.
Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Capilita is not approved for dementia-related psychosis.
So Monday I'll be breaking my salad, eating for lunch.
Antidepressants may increase these risks. Report fever, confusion, stiff muscles, which may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High cholesterol and weight gain may occur, as can high blood sugar, which may be fatal. Common side effects are sleepiness, dizziness, nausea, and dry mouth. These aren't all the side effects.
Ask your doctor how Capilita can help you let in the light. Find savings at capilita.com. Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms can keep coming back. Break away to what's possible with Tremfya. With rapid remission at 12 weeks, and less bowel movements and abdominal pain at 4 weeks. Most patients achieve remission at 1 year, and some patients saw visible healing of the intestinal lining.
Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
Power E-Trade's award-winning trading app makes trading easier. With its customizable options chain, easy-to-use tools, and paper trading to help sharpen your skills, you can stay on top of the market from wherever you are. E-Trade from Morgan Stanley. Power E-Trade's easy-to-use tools make complex trading less complicated. Custom scans help you find new trading opportunities, while a news tool helps you plan your trades and stay on top of the market. E-Trade from Morgan Stanley.
To be out here in God's creation, to have the strength and energy at 77 years of age is pure joy, even when repairing fence from wind damage. I rely on MyoHealth with the amazing science-backed formula for muscle support. As we age, mobility, balance, and strength are vital to help us keep doing the things we love to do, like me here on our ranch. Plus, to have lean, strong muscles can help prevent falls and will help in recovery from surgery and injuries. Don't let age and muscle loss rob you of your strength and vitality. Be strong with MyoHealth.
MyoHealth is supported by 25 human clinical studies. Call the number on your screen now and take advantage of our special buy one, get one free offer. We're confident you'll feel results or your money back. Call now.
Are you ready for more? Ready. Yes. The answer, yes. That is really good.
Searching for Spain, Sunday at 9 on CNN.
All right, the U.S. Supreme Court has just upheld a Tennessee law that bans gender-affirming care for minors, even if it's prescribed by a doctor. Our chief legal affairs correspondent, Paula Reed, is following all these developments for us. Paula, what can you tell us about the Supreme Court's decision?
Well, this is one of the big cases you've been watching in this term because roughly half of states have a ban that is similar to the one in Tennessee. This focuses on access to certain medications that can facilitate a gender transition. After Tennessee banned minors from accessing these medications for this purpose, families of transgender youth, they brought a lawsuit saying, hey, this violates the Equal Protection Clause because other minors who are using the same medication for different purposes can still have access to it. But today in this 6-3 decision, it fell along party lines. Supreme Court affirmed this law in Tennessee. And in the majority, Chief Justice John Roberts wrote, this case carries with it the weight of fierce scientific and policy debates about the safety, efficacy, and propriety of medical treatments in an evolving field. Now, the 3 liberal justices dissented. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, she wrote, the court, quote, abandons transgender children and their families to political whims. And she wrote, quote, in sadness, I dissent. Now, going forward, what we'll be looking for is the impact that this decision has on other possible laws. Because over the past several years, we've seen a lot of laws targeting transgender individuals, specifically minors. And after this decision, we now know that those laws are going to be reviewed under a lower standard, making it easier for them to pass judicial review.
What major cases are we still waiting for this Supreme Court to decide on before they take their summer break?
So we still have over a dozen outstanding cases, but there's 3 big ones. The biggest one is their decision on birthright citizenship, which is really a decision about judicial power. Can one judge anywhere in the country block a policy that has been implemented by the White House, by the president, for the entire country? President Trump's lawyers, they tell me this is the #1 thing they are watching because we know President Trump, he uses executive action, executive authority a lot, and those are often blocked by judges. We're also looking at a case that asks whether parents can opt out of curriculum or instruction that has to do with LGBTQ books or other curriculum items. That's a big one. And also a requirement in Texas. If you have to verify your age by providing your identification in order to access pornography. Now, a lot of terms, they have over a dozen major cases. This term has only had a few, but again, any of these cases would have an enormous impact on the lives of actually millions of Americans.
You're going to be very busy over these next few days. Paula Reed, thank you. very, very much. David Shelley and Sungmin Kim are back with us right now. David, 27 states, as you know, have passed bans on gender-affirming care. The issue of trans rights was maybe the most important culture war issue of the 2024 election. Will it continue to be?
It was certainly one of them, and it is continuing to be. If you look at advertising on the Republican side, even this early on, we're still a year and a half or so from the midterm vote, and you can see a lot of Republican candidates are making sure to put trans issues from their perspective into their paid advertising. I think, listen, you got to separate out the politics of this from the real human impact of this. I think, as Paula noted, we're going to learn what the human impact is of this court decision among families across the country. But in the politics of it, I think the two things to watch are how Republicans will sort of hit the gas on this issue when they believe the issue for them, and watch how Democrats, especially those considering a 2028 presidential campaign, respond to this court ruling. Have they learned to message around this issue in a way that's more politically palatable than what Kamala Harris was able to do back in 2024?
I just had to come live as soon as I got some good news.
Have taken a step back right now. Do you see this ruling potentially galvanizing the party?
Well, it's hard to see. I think David is spot on with the balancing act that these Democratic leaders will have to take when it comes to this issue. I have Republicans tell me over and over how winning politically transgender rights issues for their party, particularly when it comes to the issue of transgender women participating in sports. They feel like that is a complete political winner for them, and how those leading contenders really massage this issue by making sure that this is a party that is to LGBTQ people and their needs and their rights, but while trying to kind of not, pigeonhole themselves into a broader, just a party that seems to be focused just on that issue will be a balancing act, because the Trump campaign really was able to successfully kind of, characterize Kamala Harris, based on our answers from the 2020 primary campaign as really singularly focused on that issue and not focused on the issues of the broader American public, on the economy, etc. And really will be a challenge for the 28 candidates.
David, just like abortion rights, we're about to see transgender rights become very different depending on whether you live in a red or blue state. What could that mean for the country?
You note the abortion rights example. I mean, you are going to see a patchwork of laws, and you're going to see in the states where there are Democratic-controlled legislatures probably try to legislate and insulate from this court ruling in some ways. But when you have a Supreme Court ruling that paves the path, you see nationwide standards start to take place. And so I think that's likely this ruling's impact across the nation will go beyond just red states.
David Shelley and Sungmin Kim, thanks to both of you very, very much. Up next, there's more breaking news we're following. Israel's military now says Iran has launched new missiles into Israel. We're going live to the region when we come back.
The Billionaire Boys Club was a bro club full of rich white guys.
Johan was a puppet master.
He was chasing love and power at any cost, even murder.
Billionaire Boys Club, producing July 13th. CNN.
What you want to do is save hundreds with every individual customizes your car insurance.
That's great, but can you ask Trent to stop digging into the green?
I can ask, but he's not going to. Only pay for what you need.
You want guard today? Oh, no. It just got Simply Safe. It protects the whole home, inside and out.
Stop, this is Simply Safe.
Whoa.
That was impressive.
There's no sampling, Simply Safe.
Perfecting your swing is hard.
Nice shot, man.
Well, replacing your windshield doesn't have to be. Go to safelife.com and we can come to you.
Sick.
Our highway.
Have a good day. I love you.
With flexible payment options, get it fixed now and pay later. Only safelife.com.
Safe Life Repair, Safe Life Replace. Woo!
Your house. Just know. It's a source of everything.
What are you waiting for? Go seize the day with Zyrtec.
Hey, look at that. They got one of DirecTV's new genre packs. Genre packs. Yeah, that's what I said. Now they can pay less and pack just the TV they want. Pick the TV they want. Yeah, now you can.
Hey, Dad, check this out. Navy back ribs. Where does it go? Nobody knows.
Oh, hey, how did you do that?
Honey, he's a magician.
It was sauce perfect.
But
You just said he saw
hello.
the other rib.
Well, look, we're great with teeth. We're toothbrushes.
But we're not the best with tongues, cheeks, and everything in between.
We need backup. The clinically proven essential oils and Listerine clean every surface of your mouth.
For whole mouth health, Listerine. Wash your mouth. Can a mortgage move you forward? Absolutely. SoFi has helped over 130,000 people take the leap towards homeownership. So as your ambitions for your family grow, we can help you get to the next step with a smooth and simple process. So you can revel in the chaos of moving in. All your ambitions, all in one app. Join SoFi Plus and get a $1,000 home mortgage discount. SoFi, get your money right.
Our brains are pretty crumbled, but memory can get complicated. That's why we created Nariva Memory 3D. It supports your short-term, long-term, and working memory. Take it from me. An elephant never forgets. Remember Nariva.
Taking a stand for investors. Everyone says it. Vanguard does it. Announcing Vanguard's largest expense ratio cut down, which includes nearly half of our fixed income and equity funds. Learn more at Vanguard.com.
Neutrogena Ultra Sheer with Heliopex protection absorbs so well, it's easy to forget you're wearing it. Sunscreen? You did. Good. Did I? You did. You just need more space. I feel like I'm suffocating.
Oh, no. Is this the episode with the breakup?
How do we find the one?
Okay, let's simmer down here. Y'all need Realtor.com, the app the pros trust most. With over 500,000 new listings every month, you can find the one today. This could be it. Better put a key ring on it.
You can say that again.
You better put a key ring on it. Let it get real with Realtor.com.
Closed captioning brought to you by Cardiomobile, makers of the world's most advanced personal EKGs.
Check your heart from anywhere and detect atrial fibrillation with Cardiomobile, our most clinically validated personal EKG for just $79 at cardio.com or Amazon.
And we're following the breaking news. The Israeli military just detecting new missiles they say launched from inside Iran. The IDF says their defense systems have been activated for that. Let's go to Tel Aviv. Anderson Cooper and Orrin Lieberman are there. And I know, Anderson, you all are basically now...
I'm sorry, no.
You're in a bomb shelter because those sirens have gone off.
That's right. We got the early warning signal that came across people's phones in the location we're in. They also made an announcement here with Orrin Lieberman. How rare is it that this happens during the day? I've seen a lot of this at night.
It is much more common to see this at night. We'll get them at 1, 2, 4 in the morning. In fact, last night they came just about 20 minutes apart, something like at 12:30 in the morning and 1 in the morning. They have come during the daytime several times. This is probably the
I'm sorry, no
last 6 days.
live video right now. I'm eating, but
It's also a statement how organized it is and how
I do have sound.
everybody who is in this hotel.
Hopefully.
has
Fuck
come
you.
down to shelters. There's a number of shelters. So there was a warning about 10 or so minutes ago that there was
But I do have sound
then there was more of a red alert just about a minute or two.
because I don't want anyone to see me eating.
There's essentially a 15-minute flight time thereabouts for ballistic missiles from Iran. So they give the first warning that they detected them, and then they give the 1 or 2 minute warning, which is it's really incoming and it's quite close. That's when everybody heads to the shelters. And then generally 10, 12, 15 minutes later, you'll get the all clear. You'll see people head out. This has become the pattern of life here over the course of the past 6 days. You've seen what was more chaotic and disorderly at first is simply something everyone has now done across the country. It's not just here.
And this is just got here a couple hours ago. This is the first time this has occurred. If it is a drone, is it a different warning?
Yeah, you don't get essentially the phone blast. Drones have come over from the east, essentially from Iran over Jordan. It is not an alert across the country. They're quite specific in terms of their location. The vast majority, if not virtually all of them, have been intercepted. It's not the same level of
of concern or threat or danger that the ballistic missiles are, and therefore it is the ballistic missiles where you see the wider threats. This is all over central Israel, essentially, and that's where everybody heads to shelters.
I was just out getting a coffee 30 minutes ago. There's people on the beach, there's people walking around, there's people gathered to watch the sunset. Life in Tel Aviv, at least in this little area on this day, seemed quite calm.
It's a big change. 48 hours ago, the beaches were emptier, the roads were emptier. People, like I said, are getting used to the pattern here, so they feel more comfortable being out. In fact, I was here yesterday and went for a walk late at night, and as an alarm, I was near a completely different hotel and just ran into that bomb shelter, and nobody thought twice about it. People ran in off the beach to whatever bomb shelter essentially is closest. You're in there for 20 minutes or so, and then you're back out.
We anticipate being able to leave here very soon. And Aaron, let's go back to you.
All right, Anderson and Warren, thank you both so very much in that shelter right now in Tel Aviv. And coming up, President Trump says his message to Benjamin Netanyahu is to keep going. We'll break down the pressure campaign of what's going on here next.
Evil Honduras searching for Spain. Sunday at 9 on CNN.
Our brains are incredible, but memory can be complicated. That's why we created new Nariva Memory 3D. It supports your short-term, long-term, and working memory. Take it from me. An elephant never forgets. Remember Nariva.
At the UPS store, we offer a lot because running a small business takes a lot. That's why we're the Help Protect Your Privacy store and the Give Your Business on Real Street Address store. So while you're juggling everything else like the boss you are, we're the extra pair of hands store. You can count on us as the shredding and mailboxing, anything and everything to keep you going store. Visit the upsstore.com/save and get 3 months of free mailbox services today.
Neutrogena Ultra Shear with Heliopex protection absorbs so well, it's easy to forget you're wearing.
Put sunscreen on?
You did.
Did I?
You did. Yes, you did. Sunscreen you can't feel.
With hundreds of sales every week, eat well for less at Whole Foods Market.
High heat, wet hair, aka the Straightener Sizzle. OGX weightless repair mist for non-stop damage protection. OGX.
Ooh, baby back ribs, sauce.
Dinner guy, hot.
Don't you just love that you can take it all?
How'd you like to take me?
Well, we did drive here together.
Come on, let's play it and go home.
Pedro's parents got more than they bargained for. A good deal and a new best friend for their son.
Allergies got you trying every trick. Grab Zyrtec for total relief. It works fast and lasts a full 24 hours. What are you waiting for? Go Z's today with Zyrtec.
Every great performance starts with a great night's sleep. Thanks to new Natrol Sleep and Restore, which helps me be this me, this me, this me. I'm kidding. To be my best at all of this, I have to be my best at this. Every great night's sleep starts with Natrol.
New Natrol Sleep and Restore for your ultimate restorative sleep.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on home insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the neighbors first before buying a house. So check Allstate first for a quote that can save you hundreds.
Welcome to the 100-degree swim test. Secret clinical versus ordinary antiperspirant. Turn up the heat. Looks like ordinary antiperspirants can't take the heat. Ordinary antiperspirants can't fight sweat better than secret clinical. New secret clinical strength spray.
Your sisters are running early. Early? That's headache. You've got an hour. Try Payquil, the max strength liquid pain reliever that starts working fast. Payquil, the aches, pain, strains, head pounding, back aching, fights pain fast. Medicine.
Stay out. Next time I see you around town, I'm gonna throw you in jail. That includes you.
You wouldn't dare.
Better get out of here right now before I change my mind. This is sparkly. My patience is not unlimited.
Neither is mine.
The stories that
The Israeli military is detecting new missiles launched from Iran as President Trump deliberates potential U.S. military strikes in the region. I want to bring in Avi Meir from Jerusalem. He's joining us right now. He's the founder of the Jerusalem Journal, the former editor-in-chief of the Jerusalem Post. Avi, thanks so much for joining us. We just saw our own Anderson Cooper and Oren Lieberman in Tel Aviv in a bomb shelter as Iranian missiles is heading towards Israel. What are things like for you in Jerusalem right now?
Okay. I'm back.
Well, Jerusalem has actually been significantly quieter than Tel Aviv and others.
Show them.
Our share of alerts and missile sirens over the past few days, but they're actually hit this city as opposed to Tel Aviv, Haifa.
I'll show them.
There has been some devastation where 24 people have been killed.
Now show him.
That's far lower than the projections had been
I'm back.
at the time, but certainly devastating nonetheless.
We know that President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu
I had my salad.
What are you learning
I didn't want to eat it on camera.
that the Prime Minister is trying to place on Trump to join the strikes against Iran?
And my hair's still
There are several
wet.
different perspectives here in
It'll be
Israel.
wet for a
On one
few
hand, you
hours.
have certain elements, including, of course, the Prime Minister, who are speaking to the President
I'm
and
just
people in
doing
his
that.
circle, trying to encourage them to become involved in
But,
this military campaign against
I don't want to eat on camera.
You have Israeli officials telling the Wall Street Journal that
But
it can go it alone. That there is a
I had,
place to attack even the most fortified.
I said, just cut the camera off and just play the,
that can only be attacked by
and
use of
just
the
talk.
buster bombs that the United States has. That Israel can in fact do that if it really needs to. So
But,
you have these two different perspectives, essentially trying
yeah, that's
to
my good
figure out
news
what the United
for
States will do, what the
today.
do on its own.
Just days before the attack on Iran, we know the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was hanging by a thread politically in Israel right now. Is that changing? Are the Israeli people in support of what he's doing right now as far as Iran is concerned?
There is wall-to-wall support in
My
Israel
phone
for
just
this campaign, which is viewed by
basically
Israelis
just keeps
as
on going
frankly
off.
existential. Israelis know that Iran has wanted this country's destruction for decades. They say so very openly. And we also know that Iran is developing a secret nuclear program. This is not something that anyone really doubts. And so I think there is wall-to-wall support in this country. You have leaders of the opposition, including Yair Lapid and Benny Gantz, full-throatedly supporting this effort and saying they acknowledge that this was the moment to act, that Iran has indeed posed an existential threat to the state of Israel, and this is our opportunity to ensure that that threat is removed from our necks.
What's your sense, Avi, of whether or not the U.S. will ultimately join Israel in this military campaign? What are you hearing from people in Israel?
Well, at the moment, Israeli officials are essentially saying that they believe it is likely the United States will participate in the campaign in some way. We don't know exactly what that'll look like, whether it'll simply be a limited assault on that site at Fordo or something broader. Israel has said openly that its goal is not regime change. That is not why Israel is doing what it is doing. This is simply an attempt to remove the threat of annihilation from the Jewish state. However, if the United States becomes involved, that could indeed expand to something.
But I'm getting my new leg Monday. I'm gonna say it now that I'm on camera and not off camera. That's who I was on the phone with. I was on the phone with
United States and Israel cannot allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon.
my doctor, and it's actually there, but I could only pick it up on Monday because I had to ask my dad for a ride.
Aaron will be back along with Anderson Cooper to pick up our breaking news coverage right after a short break.
So that's my good news I wanted to share on camera now that I do have my show going on. Okay, I'm getting my new leg. And I will be doing a little short video, and I will explain it because we don't know when this will be available on YouTube. So y'all be good, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye, y'all. Bye-bye.